Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know I've been crazy missing for the longest while. I'm so nervous in front of the camera because it's been weeks since I've been in front of the camera. But I'm just here to let you guys know what's been going on, where I've been. So first things first, we had our baby girl on March 31st at 8:13 in the morning. She was actually 6 weeks early. My original due date was supposed to be May 11th, but she didn't want to stay in any longer. The same thing with my son. I had him at 34 weeks as well. She was a healthy 4 pounds, 8 ounces. So, because I had her 6 weeks early, she's still in the hospital in the NICU. So to get into the update, I'm just gonna explain to you everything that's pretty much been going on up to the point where I've had her. I think the last update was at like 29 weeks or something like that. And then not long after that, I started getting what I thought was Braxton Hicks contractions, and it kept going for a while. And then about, I think at 31 weeks was when it started to get a little more painful. I started timing it, but they were about 10 minutes or less apart. So we went to the birthing center, they checked me, they said there were mild contractions, but it wasn't strong enough to start dilating me. So I was sent home, continued going in every week for my stress test to monitor the baby and everything like that. And every week I went in, they would just say, yeah, it's still mild contractions. They would check me and it wouldn't be enough to dilate me. Then at 33 weeks, coming up on 34 weeks, it was, I believe, the Friday. My cousin was sick and she was in the hospital, so I went to go see her, and I got home pretty late that night, and I noticed, sorry, TMI, noticed something coming out of me, and when I googled it, I found out it could have possibly been my mucus plug, and I didn't experience that with my son because when they checked me, and because I was 34 weeks already dilating, they had admitted me, so they broke my water, did everything at the hospital, so I didn't experience losing my mucus plug. So from Googling, that's what I found out this stuff was. And I wasn't quite 34 weeks yet. I was turning 34 weeks on the Sunday, and this was Friday. Saturday morning, I found out my cousin had passed away. So we went to the hospital. My dad came and picked me up because my husband was at work by this time. So I had to take my son with me. We went to the hospital. And I felt a little discomfort, but nothing much. And I just assumed it was from the walking and whatnot. After that, I spent the day at my parents' and I felt fine, just a little restless. And then that evening, my husband came and picked up my son because he was acting up a bit. So then I went to my cousin's wake, and I started feeling a little bit more pressure, a little bit more uncomfortable, but I just figured it's nothing. And that was Saturday. Sunday is when I turned 34 weeks, and my body started to feel a bit different, and I knew I couldn't go to my cousin's wake and stuff like that because I just started to feel a little bit more tired, a little bit more pressure. So I was talking to my mom, and she, pretty much said to me she thinks the baby was going to come that week. That night, I tried to go to sleep around 12. That didn't happen. The pain started coming a little bit stronger, and then by 2 o'clock, I noticed, okay, these are not Braxton Hicks anymore. And I still tried to sleep up until 3 o'clock is when I couldn't sleep anymore. 3 o'clock in the morning, because the contractions were really keeping me up. And then I remember at 3:52, I'm like, okay, I need to start timing these. And when I started timing them, they were a minute apart, getting stronger and stronger. And I didn't know if I should wake up my husband or not because I didn't know if these were Braxton Hicks, if these were going to make me dilate, are they going to send me back home from the hospital? And I just didn't want to go to the hospital and wait there for hours again just to be sent home. But then at about 4:20, I had to wake him up. It was just excruciating pain where I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And he woke up and we didn't know what to do. We kind of sat there for a minute and I'm like, yeah, we need to go. And I tried to get up and walk and I couldn't walk, and that's when we knew this was the real thing. Like, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't do anything. And because they were coming a minute apart, I knew I only had a minute to pretty much do what I needed to do. So when one contraction ended, I would like walk to the room and then another one would start. When I got to the room and that one would finish, I would try to get a piece of clothes on and then another one would start. So then we called my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law came to stay with our son. We got to the hospital, I think it was 5 o'clock in the morning. By time they hooked me up and did everything, and then they came to check me, I was 4 centimeters dilated with really strong contractions. So the nurse was getting me admitted, and the doctor said that she wanted to get me on the epidural as soon as possible because of how strong my contractions were. So by 6 o'clock, I believe it was 6 o'clock, I got my epidural, and they checked me again at 7. And from 5 to 7 o'clock, I went from 4 centimeters to 7 centimeters. And I remember my husband asking the doctor, well, do you think our daughter would come in the next hour? And the doctor said no, she doesn't think it'll happen that fast. And they were assuming I was going to have her in the afternoon. But then I remember it was like 7:45, and I told the nurse that was there that I'm starting to feel a lot of pressure and I feel like I need to push, and I was feeling pain. And the nurse came and checked me, and all I heard was, you're 8 to 9 centimeters, let's get the room ready. And me and my husband just looked at each other and we're like, what? We're not ready. Even though we had our son already, it was just like everything just happened so fast. I got to the hospital at 5, and by not even 8 o'clock, they're telling me, we're going to have a baby any minute. And I think it's just because with my son, I was admitted on a Wednesday afternoon, and I was there overnight, and it wasn't until late Thursday afternoon that I had him, that I didn't expect everything to happen so fast. So, what happened after that? So they got the room ready, they called the doctor and everything, and I started pushing. And at that point is when I realized the epidural had stopped working completely, and I was in so much pain. I did not go through that with my son because the epidural worked the whole time, but the doctor told me because I got it so early and I was only 4 centimeters, as the labor progresses, it may wear off, but some people it doesn't. Clearly mine had to wear off. I was there just pushing that button and nothing was helping. Another reason I was in a lot of pain was the doctor said that my daughter was face up, and they're not supposed to be. So every time I got a contraction, I would push. The doctor would put her hands inside and turn her so she would be face down. I wanted to just die. I wanted to give up, and I remember telling them, I can't do this anymore. I can't go. I can't push. It was too painful. But I had my husband by my side, and the nurse there was really amazing and very encouraging, and, you know, she was there to help me get through it. And I remember looking down and seeing that the umbilical cord was wrapped around my daughter's neck, but it wasn't tight. It was loosely there, and they just took it off, and then they just put her on me, and it was like it was the best feeling in the world, but at the same time, I was in so much pain, I couldn't even focus. Like, I was touching her, but it's like my mind wasn't even there. So I had her 8:13, so literally like a little over 3 hours later, because I was admitted at 5 o'clock. And again, she was born at 34 weeks, so because of that, she's still in the hospital. I only had to stay in the hospital a little over 24 hours just to make sure everything was fine, and because I had gestational diabetes, they had to check my sugar a few times. Now it's been a little over a week, coming up on 2 weeks. So Monday will be 2 weeks since I've had her. And the day I had her, that afternoon, I went to go and try to breastfeed, and she latched on perfectly fine. And the few days after that, she was latching, and she still latches. It's just she ended up getting jaundice for a little over 24 hours. She was under the light on and off for maybe a day and a half on and off. But now it's finally gone. She's out of the incubator. The only thing we're waiting on now, because she's already lost her birth weight and gained back, so the only thing we're waiting on now is for her to start drinking on her own, because now she has the tube in her nose, because she gets really tired and really sleepy, and she'll fall asleep halfway through her feeds, so they have to tube feed her, unfortunately. And it's just like, it's the hardest thing to go through, because I can't always see her every day. I can't go for every single feed, because I do have a 2.5-year-old at home that I need to tend to as well, and give him as much attention as I can before she does come home. And with my husband working, there's not always someone here that can watch watch him for me to go to the hospital. And we can't take him to the hospital because he's so active and he wants to run around and make noise, and he can't do that in the NICU. So me and my husband have to take turns seeing her. But we do what we can, and we see her as much as we can. So I try to breastfeed as much as I can. Like I said, it's coming up on 2 weeks now that she's going to be there. So we're hoping that she'll be home soon. With my son, he was born at 34 weeks. And he was in the NICU for 2 weeks and 2 days. She was born at 34 weeks and 1 day, but she's a little bit slower when it comes to her feeds because she's getting so tired. So we're not sure if she's going to come home at the 2-week mark or if it's going to be a little bit longer. But when she does come home, I will introduce you guys to her as well as my son, because you guys have been there for me, and all the comments and all the support. It's amazing, and I thank you all for that. I thank you all for sticking by me even though I haven't been making videos. I really do apologize for that. But I will attach a few pictures at the end of this video so you guys can see her at least. I'm also just going to show you guys a quick belly shot. I've lost pretty much all my pregnancy weight. I lost it within the first week of having her. I think it was just the stress of not having her home and everything like that. And again, I only gained about 15 pounds altogether through this pregnancy. So I've lost all of that plus an extra pound, which I didn't really want to lose all of that, but I don't have any control over that. And I think it's just the whole breastfeeding her when I can and pumping when I'm home. So all of that has attributed to me losing all my weight. But I'll show you guys a belly shot and what my stomach looks like now. This is what my stomach looks like now. So this is a 1.5 weeks postpartum. As you can see, it's pretty much, it's gone. I still have a little bit of fat left. My line is still very prominent. It's still there. But other than that, I've pretty much lost everything that I gained. Just a little bit left to go to tone up, but I haven't been doing anything but breastfeeding and pumping, and that's everything. And I guess that's it for this video. There's nothing else to update, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Again, thank you so much for sticking by me and just being as supportive as you guys have been. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.